On this episode, Joyce Chan stops by. Hello everyone, this is Jiale and you're watching the Advisor of Advisors show. Hey everyone, this is Jiale and you're watching episode 8 of the Advisor of Advisors show. Today we have Joyce Chan with us.
Hi everybody.
Right, Joyce and I, we first met at the Ghost Mapper inaugural Flying Start event.
Yes,
and that was
right.
back in 2020, right Joyce?
Was it?
Yeah, actually it's 2020, I verified already.
Okay, great.
Yeah, 2020. That was when we were first invited for a sharing. And I remember you were sharing about how you transited from a police officer
Yes.
to becoming a financial consultant.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that was where we first met. And I think when we first met, we hit off.
Yes.
Or at least on my end.
Yes,
I thought that we
we
had
did.
chemistry. Okay, and then thereafter we spoke at a few other webinars.
Yes.
Because shortly after it was COVID-19, right? Yeah, and then most people were doing webinars and we were doing a bit of combined webinars with a few other, financial advisors who are doing social media as well.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the most memorable one was last year when we had the MDRT Day.
Yes, that was exciting.
Singapore 2021, where we were both on the social media panel. No, I was one of the panel speakers, but Joyce, she was the moderator. Yeah, and I'm not sure if you saw the comments, she did a very, very wonderful job on that day. Really, very, very
Thank
smooth
you,
moderating.
thank you.
So thank you so much for moderating that panel. And if not for Joyce, I wouldn't be on that panel as well. So I just want to give a shout out to Joyce and thank her, on this show.
Thank you.
All right, and thereafter we met a few more times in person. One was over Koi,
Yes.
one was over Stout.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
So Joyce drinks as well. All right. Yeah, and I guess we have come. I would say we've come a long way since 2020. Actually, not very long or so. 2020.
Yeah, but it feels long.
But it feels long.
Which
It
is
feels
why I was like, hey, was it 2020? Yeah.
Yeah, because you only joined in 2018, which
Yes,
I'm going to
that's
introduce you
right.
later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it feels like our friendship goes deep.
Yeah.
All right, and I kind of like that because I like to have deeper relationships than many shallow friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is one thing that I really appreciate, and I think we click because we resonate on many levels in terms of our philosophies and outlook in life and the way we run our business as well.
Yes.
Which is why I bring her here today. And yeah, Joyce, I'm going to introduce you, okay?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm not the best at this, but I'm going to introduce you. So I'm going to do all of the talking first, then I'll get Joyce to talk about herself later.
Yes, and I'll just sit here blushing, I think. Although you can't see because my complexion is quite tan, so.
Maybe I'll just zoom in on later, later post editing. Okay, so Joyce first joined the business, insurance business back in April 2018. Okay, and according to what she told me just now, when she got her RNF in 2018, April, she went for a family trip until May,
Yes.
and then she hit her first MDRT in 7 months in November the same year.
Yes, that's right.
Guys, I took 7 years to hit my first MDRT. Okay, but yeah, she took 7 months, all right? So I'm gonna ask her a bit about that later. She must be doing something right, okay? 2019, she hit her second MDRT, and in 2020, at the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic, she hit her first COT, all right, which is super incredible. She's also a MDRT mentor to 6 other MDRT qualifiers. Only one of these 6 people is her team member, all right? Then 5 others are on top of her own current team,
Yes.
which is insane. That means she's managing quite a few people, and she has a team of 4 advisors right now currently. She's also part of the MDRT membership communications committee. I don't know where she got the time. She also had 3 dogs, just to let you know. She's a founder of her hashtag Free Look for FCs, which is her video series.
Yes.
How many episodes do you have right now?
Oh, I can't remember.
Okay.
But probably 10 or...
Probably 10
less,
episodes.
yeah,
Okay.
probably 10,
And
yeah.
you can find it on YouTube.
On Instagram, yeah.
On Instagram.
Yeah.
So if you go to Joyce Instagram, you'll find hashtag Free Look for FCs video series, okay? Go check it out. And also, most importantly, she is Rookie Insurance Agent of the Year and Digital Agent of the Year. This is where I'll start to get tongue-tied up. For the 5th and the 6th Asia Trusted Life Agents and Advisors Award in 2020 and 2021.
You did it!
That is a mouthful of achievements. I can finally put my iPad aside. Damn. So that is Joyce for you. Really, I think accomplished in a very short span of time since 2018 till now. At this time of filming, it's 2022.
Yes.
Start of 2022. So you're only in the business for like what? Close to 3 years only.
April will be my 4th. I mean, will be
April
the full 4th year.
Oh wait, going to 4th year.
Going into the 5th year thereafter. Yeah. Right?
Wait.
2018. It feels long, so.
If it's this long, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, my shit. I need to just woke up. Okay. Yeah. So okay, and so Joyce, tell everyone what have you been busy with lately?
Wow, so
Yeah,
other
what are you
than
up
the
to?
3 dogs,
Other than 3 dogs, okay.
for a handful, I've been busy with, I guess, really balancing between leading a team,
Okay.
mentoring,
Yeah.
volunteering, as well as taking care of my clients.
Yeah.
So I feel like time is always there for us, and it's how we manage it. So my time is largely spent on these, and then of course I try to spend time with my grandparents. Very lucky, all 4 of them are still around. My parents and my wife. So that's what I've been busy with. It sounds like a lot now that I'm saying it.
Yeah.
But it actually is fine. Yeah. So work-wise, I'm trying to like find a system and a process where I can, I guess, more easily balance the 2 heaviest work commitments, which would be leading a team of FCs and building on it, right? As well as taking care of my clients, and make sure that the service standards are there. Yeah. So work-wise, these 2 would take the most time out of a week or a month. Yeah.
Also, mentoring your team
Yes.
plus servicing your clients take up the bulk of your time.
Yes, that's right.
For work.
For work. Yeah.
Okay. So this is what we have been busy lately. Any new projects coming up or any
Well, I feel like there's always new things coming up.
Okay.
So it almost feels like, okay, just a small part of work. But I'm looking at doing a lot more videos for the Free Look for FCs series. Also looking at doing like training with other companies. Yeah.
training with other companies?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Basically like training engagements where we train FCs with other companies. And at the same time, also looking to build up on recruiting FCs, and also looking to, send out like care packages to my clients. So these are the little projects going on. It's part of
You mentioned that you're training with training for FCs would be what do you mean? Like you go out there and you train other FCs or other insurance companies?
Yes.
Oh,
Looking towards that. Yeah.
Oh, already?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. It's a solo project or it's a project with a few people?
Currently it's like a solo project. So we do a lot of sharing in our profession. So some of that has led to like conversations about whether we can help to coach or guide other FCs. And I think like right now we're just in the discussion phase.
Understand.
But of course I have to be just very careful with how I split my time. So I want to make sure that I do take care of my team and my clients first.
Yes.
If I do have the capacity, then then I'll be okay to do that. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna hold that thought for a while for the time management part of things, right? But I think many people are interested in your backstory.
Okay.
Yeah, like I've heard your backstory, but many others haven't.
Okay.
And then you were once a police officer. So how did the whole transition come about?
Yeah. So when I was a police officer, which by the way I want to put this up here, is my childhood dream. So I've always wanted to be a police officer since as young as I can remember. I think like 5-6 years old I was already telling my mum that I want to be a police officer, right? So I'm the kind of student who, well, I would say don't put much effort into studying lah, okay? So
really, for Joyce?
Yes, really. My friends will tell you, but yes, okay. So like after O levels, normally it's like a period of time before you take the results, right? So I was telling my mom, hey, mommy, never mind lah. 如果 fail 的话我去做警察. Only need pass only. Don't need, like A's or what.
Okay.
Alright. I mean, of course, in the end, I did get good grades. I went to JC, and then same thing happened at JC. All the minor exams, I was like not doing very well. Okay, so I told my mom that, hey, mommy 不用紧. Okay, after A level, 我去做警察就可以了. So in my A levels, I did well as well. And then I asked my mom, hey, mommy, 我可以 do scholarship. Yeah, 要不要让我做police scholarship? Then 他讲 don't want. I think it's very dangerous. And now that your path is a university, maybe you explore new interests there and go into the world of finance. Somehow mothers would think that world of finance and economics is very cool, right? I was like, okay. So I went to uni. Long story short, before I graduated, I already signed on to be a police officer.
Oh. So, with the permission or the blessings of your mom, or without?
I would think that at that point she had to, give me a blessing. Right? So I went into the police force, and I was like in training academy when I, received my grad cert. And then that was that. That was like thereafter, after graduation from training academy, I was posted to investigations as a patrol unit team leader, and then eventually staff posting. So that was my the first 6 years of my working life. But at a point, I did ask myself.
Oh, you were with the police force for 6 years?
Yes, for 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah, for 6 years. At a point, I did ask myself whether I wanted more out of a career.
Yeah.
Well, I think naturally, as I progress along my career in the police force, because there's promotions, your rank rises, and I guess the chances for me to go back to the ground get slimmer and slimmer over the years. And the ground is where I'm super passionate about, because I've always wanted to be on the ground to help people, save lives and property, right? That's what I want to do. That's why I wanted to join the police force. And when I started pondering about what's next for me, I think a couple of things came to mind. First, and I'm not gonna lie, first of all is that how open can I be with my relationship with my wife, and I would say that the government, or insofar people have been very accepting, my superiors have been very accepting, but just how open can I be? Can I attend a pink dot event, or can I not? There's a lot of there's a lot of things to think about, and I think more importantly is, do I see myself in a staff work position through the years when I finally retire at 55 or 60, right, and I look back at my life, what has the last 30-40 years been? And I couldn't in much confidence tell myself that it would be on the ground, really still helping the people, where my passion really lies in. At the same time, I was thinking back into the more memorable interactions with I guess handling incidents. That's what police officers do. Of course, a bulk of the incidents is, hey, Mata, my neighbors are playing mahjong, it's now 11 o'clock already, can you all ask them to keep quiet, right? So majority of that is that. But of course, we have our fair share of your crimes and cases and things like that. And one thing that always strikes me is we are always there after something has happened.
Okay.
We're always there after something has happened. And yes, we are in a position to help very reactively, of course. But a big part of myself asked me, is that good enough? Is that sufficient?
Yeah.
And so, when I was considering the career switch, a couple of incidents came to mind. So I was a very unlucky, I guess, ground officer. I always witnessed a lot of not so good cases. And one of it, I can't go into detail because of, I guess, the secrecy stuff. But one of it was tending to a case of suicide. So at 3 a.m., 4 a.m, when you hear kind of like this sound, telling you to, attend to scene immediately. A man has jumped, a man has jumped.
Wow.
You really leap out of wherever you are at, and you chong down to the scene immediately lah.
Yeah.
And in that incident, I remember very vividly because the disease was already on the ground, and his brain was far away from his body. Naturally, straight away, pronounced dead on scene. And as police officers, our responsibility, and over here I need to take a pause to say, really respect the men and women in blue. So as police officers, our responsibility would be to determine that there's no foul play, right? So you need to go and assess where did he jump from, what's the evidence there, check his body for any like bruises and things like that. And to respect the disease, let's just term him as Mr. Wong. So we did what we had to, searched his body for any notes, and out of Mr. Wong's chest pocket, he was in his probably late 40s, early 50s. Out of Mr. Wong's chest pocket, there was a suicide note, and I probably should put a trigger warning way before I share this anecdote. So the note simply stated that he had gotten cancer. It was written to his daughter, written in Mandarin. So it just says that 女儿，爸爸得了癌症，钱还是省着好，别太想我. So it's just very, very simple note. And when I read it, naturally I'm a doctor myself. At that point, things had just gotten better with my dad, because for the longest time, my dad wasn't there, but he was trying to make up for it as well. And when I was reading it, I was just thinking, hey, if my dad were to be in the same position, what would his options be? And I very guiltily, after shift, after everything has ended, after we handled the whole situation, I very guiltily sat down and thought to myself what would my parents' options be? And I think honestly I couldn't think of any option for my dad, especially because my family all along from the 1997, 1998 Asian economic crisis, my dad's side of the family has been bankrupt for a very long time. At that point, he's now discharged. He worked very hard for it, so congrats, Dad. Yeah, I wanna say that because he worked really hard to be discharged from bankruptcy, and it's something that I wanna say with pride. But at that point, he was still in the bankruptcy stage. And and as I mentioned, our relationship was quite estranged before that. And so my question to myself was, if my dad had gotten cancer, what would his options be? Would he reach out to us for money? Or would he feel that, hey, I don't want to burden my kids? Does he have insurance? I really don't know, right? Would he feel like there is no other options? I started to think about it, and I decided that, hey, Joyce, you worked for a few years already, it's time to take care of your family. So, a long story short, as I was, I guess, deciding between a switch in career, these incidents always come back to me. Reason because I feel like while the men and women in blue do a very good job in policing, I felt that every time I attended something, it was very reactive, too reactive. And I just wondered, can I be at a place where I'm more preventive? So when my mentor who brought me into this profession asked me, hey Joyce, do you want to listen to the career sharing on this career? First 2 times I said, don't want, cannot. You see my cutting, I cannot be salesperson, right? It's cannot. And then he said, but it's not just about sales, it's not about. I was like, really? So I took some time actually. I thought about it.
What was your first impression of insurance?
My first impression of insurance honestly wasn't that fantastic lah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I really got to be very honest. It was that stereotype law.
Yeah, don't worry. All insurance agents listening, so we can talk about this insider thing. Yeah.
So like it's that stereotype of that you know, that Continental car, then you know like you take a lot of photos with it.
Okay.
It's
the insurance agent starter pack.
Yeah, it's the. I mean, like, it was the stereotype of that. Oh, then you know you like subtly flash your watch. It's that kind of
gala
stereotype.
dinners and
like super a lot of awards.
Yep.
Kind of thing. And I didn't really see like the meaning in it. And to me, I'm a very like I need to see the meaning and the purpose and the value behind it, right? So so I said no the first few times, but also because you see my cutting like that, 不是很美, right? 也不是很好看, right? And then there's always you need to be very pretty, then you can sell. But of course, now
Joyce
that
我也是不是很帅.
Yeah. Okay, 还好. Okay lah, okay, average. So.
Anyways, continue.
So I think like the impression was that I don't think I'll be a good like you know salesperson.
Yeah.
And I also don't want to be in that cutting lah.
Yeah.
Right, where it's the fast cars, and then you know our friends say, hey, you take my premium, I can buy all these things. I didn't want to be that.
Yeah.
But of course, my mentor convinced me, and I've known him for years before he actually invited me in for a career talk. So I've known him for years. He's actually my uncle's very good friend. Honestly, I for many years I didn't know that he was a financial consultant. Because he's just a kind of like really good guy. Like if you think about it, right, like he visit my auntie, my grandparents. He's the kind that will buy the entire family the whole dinner and not ask for anything. He's like that kind of like super nice guy, right? So all along like, it's like, hey, this guy, he's a financial consultant. It's like, wow, that's something different. And so eventually I told myself that, okay, Joyce, if you want to be in a profession that helps preventively, and of course, not gonna lie, and you want to make an income out of it, right? This is a pretty good profession.
Understand?
Yeah, it's just that, you know, has your thinking been, I guess, adjusted because of what you see on social media, because of all the like toxicity you see on social media. Why don't you go and listen to them? Right? So after I listened to them, my director, Raymond, and things like that, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna join. I was like right after that first meeting, I told Louis, my mentor, that I'm gonna join this profession. Yeah, because I really saw how this team was doing things differently.
Understand.
Yeah, it was like an instant decision from 我不要 to okay, I really do want to.
Okay.
Yeah. Raymond shared with me that, you know, beyond, you know, just like planning for clients, he feels that it's important for FCs to plan for themselves first, right? To make sure that you don't buy the fast cars with your first paycheck or the second paycheck or in your first year, no, right? Like you need to make sure that you're financially prudent and that whatever commissions you earn, because we all know that the first year commissions is the most, is able to last your client servicing for a lifetime. So you need to be prudent with that. And hearing all these from, you know, an insurance veteran, Raymond now is about 20 over years in the business, was like, whoa, that's really different from my like misconceptions of the financial advisory profession. And so I said, yes, I'm gonna join.
Okay.
And yes, I want to join because if I go back to Mr. Wong's story, imagine if Mr. Wong had met any of us financial advisors, because this is going to be a show for financial advisors, right? If Mr. Wong had met any of us, maybe 5 years or 10 years before he actually realized that he was diagnosed with cancer, would his options be very different? And I can't help but to think that yes, it would be very different. Imagine a large payout, or even that, hey, don't worry, the hospital expenses are taken care of.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be a world of a difference lah. Not just to Mr. Wong, but eventually to the daughter who's reading the note lah.
Understand.
Yeah. So I decided that, hey, I feel like there's conviction to join this profession, and I want to do a good job out of it.
Understand.
Yeah. So that's how, I guess that's my backstory. Sorry for a bit chonghei, but yeah.
That's amazing backstory. I mean, I've heard this backstory multiple times, but it is still refreshing to hear it from you again. And it brings the context to this conversation that we're going to have, which is, with this conviction, was that how you did your first MDRT in 7 months? Because many advisors struggle to even hit their first MDRT, even multiple years in the business. How do you manage to do that? And are you, looking back, were you doing anything different from the other financial advisors that got you your results?
I think what's amazing being a rookie is that I guess you don't know what is like the normal pace, right, of things. At that point, I was just telling myself that this is a meaningful career.
Yeah.
I want to do good in it. I want to, make sure that I do it well.
Yeah.
And I want to reach out to as many people as possible to share with them this backstory, to share with them why I feel that insurance is important, why I feel that savings is important, and I just reached out to every buddy that I know. If I haven't, and you're watching this, please reach out to me.
Please reach out to Joyce Chan.
Yes, so I reached out to everybody that I know to at least fundamentally help them to organize their plans, to tidy up. And at that point, I didn't have an admin executive, so I did everything myself.
Yep.
And I was telling myself that, hey, if I'm working, 16 hours or more in the police force, taking a salaried paycheck, then now that I'm working for myself, I should put in more hard work, right?
Yeah.
So I definitely should not discount the number of hours I'm working. So in the first year, day in, day out, I was putting in, once I wake up, go to work, everything is work until, the end of the day, come back, rest, day 2, carry on again.
Okay.
And that's because there was just, and it didn't really feel like work, because it just felt like I really wanted to do this. I really wanted to, meet people, and it almost felt like there was this renewed energy within me.
You wanted to reach out to as many people as possible within your community.
Yes.
And with that renewed sense of purpose, right?
And the thing is, you talk about all these accolades and awards.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I didn't even know what MDRT was. My director, I think maybe he was thinking that, okay lah, first year, don't want to overwhelm this rookie. And he didn't really share with me about MDRT. And I was like, yeah. So it's just one day, my director asked me into his room in September. And then he was like, hey Joyce, by the way, did I tell you about MDRT? You're on track to it. I was like, oh no, what was that? Yeah. But I think that's good, because I wasn't in any way, pressured by hitting goals and things like that. These things, while yes, they are important as professional accolades, but neither should you be completely driven by them.
Were you at any time worried about your income? Because at the police force, of course, you were compensated, at a certain amount, and then when you hop over to being a financial advisor with zero base,
yes,
were you at any point concerned about?
So I think the concern stems from the fact that after leaving the police force, I also went for other job interviews, right? And the average offer was about 120k a year, 120 to 150k a year. So at that point, I was just thinking that, I really don't mind taking a pay cut, but neither can I discount myself too much for all the hard work that I've put in.
Of course.
So income-wise, I think it was not so much of I need to earn this much or that much, right? But it's more of that I put in hard work, and let's see what I get out of it from the end of the year. Yeah. Of course, on a side note, my wife was going to go to Netherlands for her studies, right? And how it works when you do your masters overseas is that you need to pay a deposit to, I think, some bank account to show that you are able to stay there and study there. So but she could also have taken a bank loan for it. And one of my little goals in my head was to, hey, let's see whether we can get this entire sum, just fund it ourselves. And we did. So that was nice lah. But I think, was I at any point worried about my income? I was worried that I was not gonna do myself, I guess, justice. Which is why I really worked my ass off, and I didn't want it to be a point in which, I didn't do well this year because that friend won't meet me, or that friend won't meet me. I didn't want it to be any I don't want to blame any failures externally.
Of course.
Yeah, right. At the end of the year, I told myself, that I wanted to be in a position where I can thank everybody, where I can say that, hey, thank you for entrusting me your policy, thank you for supporting me emotionally, through this career.
Yep.
I didn't want to be in a position whereby, I didn't do well because that friend didn't meet me because that friend blue tick me right? So that was actually what drove me.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to make sure that I was in a position to give thanks.
Yeah.
And not in a position where I just look within and like, hey, did you not work hard enough?
Understand.
Yeah.
Understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, many on that note, right? Many financial consultants they hesitate to reach out to their community. All right. In this case,
but
our term will be called warm market. Why? I also don't know why.
Yeah, I've heard this so many times.
Back then, I had the same, hesitancy. Is it called hesitancy? Yes, right. This is such a word, right?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I hesitated as well.
Hesitated, yeah.
But you didn't have that hesitation and it's called hesitation. Yeah.
Yes.
By the way, okay. So how do you overcome that? Or wait, you didn't overcome that. It was very natural to you, right? To approach or to reach out to your community. Can you share with us how do you text them or how do you call them? Can you share with us a step-by-step process to reach out, to your community behind the scenes? What do you do?
Okay, I think first of all, the mindset of reaching out, because I think the how is not that important.
Right.
As long as your why is very important. I mean, I think you guys who are watching this would probably have read Simon Sinek's book, right? Start with Why.
Yeah.
So my thought was that I need to take care of my own family first lah.
Okay.
Yeah, right. My dad was uninsured, not really insured, and I wanted to make it a point that I can proudly tell everybody else that, hey, I've gotten my family insured.
Okay, let's say family is by default.
Yeah, but friends as well.
Friends as well. Okay.
So say you're a very good friend of mine who I either got to know in the police force, university, JC, secondary school, whatnots, right? Yeah. I cannot in good faith go out there and tell other people about financial planning when I haven't even taken care of my friend.
Understand?
Yeah. But I haven't even gone through this with my friend.
So with that conviction or with that mindset and mentality, do you get any friends who say it's okay lah, Joyce?
Have.
And how do you deal with that?
I think rejections is confirmed part of the business, right? It's how it is. But I just tell myself that I just recall a memory when I was a kid, and I stayed with my grandma over the holidays, and she's a Yakult auntie. Okay? So Yakult auntie will push the Yakult trolley along the corridors, knock at every door, and ask, hey, you want to buy Yakult today or not? Right? So as a kid, I would do that, and I'm top sales, because kids so cute, you confirm buy one, what? Right. But there are still instances in which my grandma will get the door slammed in her face lah. But she still pushed to the next door and still knock. Right? So when my friends tell me that, hey, Joyce,
so you followed your grandma
I followed my grandma around.
And then you witnessed your grandma getting, doors closed in her face.
Yes.
And then she just
went
on to the next one.
And she walked very fast on, so I actually had to run after her. She just went to the next one. Yeah.
You were doing door knocking already?
Right, when I was
Since young, damn.
With Yakult auntie of Yishun, by the way. Yeah, so when I face rejections, and they told me that, Joyce, I really have my financial consultant, or I probably not now, all sorts of rejections that you guys face as well. I just tell myself that, okay, cool, let's move on to the next friend. Yeah. Because if this person is really well taken care of, say taken care of by Jiale, then great, right? Let's just move on. Or if this is not the right time, the person's not rejecting me as a person. It's rejecting that I don't need this service right now. That's like how when my grandma gets the door slammed in her face, she doesn't take it as they don't like my face. She just takes it as they don't need Yakult today. And she moves on to the next door.
Understand.
And there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I'm pretty sure that you guys have also said no to certain things.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just
not now.
Just not now, yeah. And
not rejecting you as a person, but rejecting the service at this point in time.
Yeah. And it's very important to not take it personally, because if you do, then imagine the number of friends that, because of your own mental barrier in not reaching out to them, imagine the number of friends that you have not had these meaningful conversations with.
I understand.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, so that's how I guess kind of like muddled through my first year, and of course I did all the like code activities as well, because I very 听话 one. Then my director will always tell me that, okay, you need to try everything. You cannot say no, right? As a rookie, you need to try everything in order to find your niche.
Yep.
So I did everything like I did like the door knock, street canvassing, cold call. I mean everything at roadshows. You name it, I've done it.
Yep.
And of course, then that gave me a lot of like exposure, but it also got me to realize that I do want to position myself better. Yeah, that I want to, I guess, be a place where where others can really see the value of the services that I provide.
Yep.
Yeah, and not, I guess, I mean, there's nothing wrong with street canvassing and door knocking, by the way. It's just that I probably because I'm like an awkward ball, it's a little bit harder for me. But I want to be in a position where I can, give information first.
Yeah.
And then if people see the value, then yes, come and play with me. Yeah.
That's where
where social media came about.
Understand.
Yeah, that's right.
I want to ask you before we step into social media, right? Which is one of the questions that I have for you. Were there any point in time where the friend that you approached initially said no, not now, but eventually he or she automatically came and looked for you?
Yes. A lot through the years, actually.
A lot through the years?
A lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And
so after the
why?
second year in the business.
Why?
Why?
Yeah, what do you think they come back to you automatically? Now they got attracted to you to come back. You didn't not approach them for the second time, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think, I really can't, say for them, but I have asked those clients before, like, hey, why do you, reach back out to me? And the answer was always that, hey, you're somebody that I do trust.
Wow.
It's just that at that point, I really wasn't in the space to think about financial planning. And you're somebody that I do want to work with. Yeah, so it wasn't so much of, did I do anything like fantastic, right? It's just that I asked, and because I asked at the first point, they know that I'm doing this. And when they thought of, I guess, financial planning, then they reached out to me. Yeah, so I think that's generally how there's been for these people who have rejected me in the first place, or rejected the service in the first place, and then thereafter came looking. Yeah.
Now, would you agree with me that on this point, your personal brand, has already been established even before you entered the business? You were already a person of trust, right? Your friends see you as someone who's trustworthy. Along the years, the school, and maybe because of your line of work, police officer, they have already they really trust you as a person. Is that, and then therefore when you transited over to being a financial consultant, it was easy to trust you in this role now?
I would say that personal brand really begins from the day that you're born, right? So for sure, I think there are some things that I did right in school, in the police force, as well. I also have friends who also left the force and who also joined financial advisory, and did not see the same level of, I guess, of performance in this profession, right?
Okay.
And I do find myself asking, hey, what's the difference? I think that the trust and the relationship built from previously plays a part.
Of course.
For sure.
Okay.
But also, your consistency in doing your work well in this profession also plays a bigger part.
Okay, understand.
Yeah, because if you know me as like a police officer, or as a supervisor, or as a student, you only know me in that aspect. Right. You still need to sit down with me, and you still need to see how I do things, and how consistently I do things, in order to trust and continuously trust me. Yeah. So I find that it's both ways. So there's always like the nature versus nurture concept. Similarly, when you join this profession, yes, your past relationships, your past friendships do play a role, but also what you do here, what you do now, also plays a very huge role.
That's true.
Because people do change. Maybe in the past you were a sucky friend, but if today you tell yourself that I'm gonna change that, and I'm gonna be a better person, and you start rebranding yourself from today, then this effort definitely does pay off.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
I think it's like both ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to ask you next about the, your financial planning process.
Okay.
Okay. Because
Okay, that's what I'm very excited about.
very excited about that is I think the meat of this conversation today.
Yes.
I think people need to know, the audience needs to know how many appointments you go for in a week.
Okay.
You see?
Oh my gosh.
In your first year, in your second year. How many
Okay.
appointments a week?
Okay.
You tell everyone.
So, okay, so in my
I'm
first
waiting.
year, combo is a lot lah. But then after that, right, like, before I met Itak, who is also on the show, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
the first guest of the show.
I actually sought mentorship from Itak, and at that point when I met Itak was asking me, Itak is very like just very awesome. She's just a very awesome person, and she was just like very gently asking me, "Okay, so Joyce, how many appointments do you go for in a week?" And I met her in 2019, and then I was like, 1 to 2. Then she said, okay, 1 to 2. So in her mind, she was thinking 1 to 2 a day. And she's like, 1 to 2, wow, that's very good, that's very good. And I was like, huh, very good. Then she clarified me, is it a day or a week? Then I was like, huh, it's 1 to 2 a week. And then she's like, her eyes were like, and in fact, it's very nice. She won't scold you there and then, but then she's like, then you need to do much better. It's like,
Hey, but back then, Joyce was already MDRT.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So how do you do it?
Okay.
How do you hit MDRT with 1 to 2 appointments a week?
Okay.
Meaning, my advisors go for 1 to 2 a day, and yet they are not there, but you go for 1 to 2 a week and you are there. So what is the difference?
Okay, so I need to put this, out here that
Disclaimer, huh?
yeah, that I'm really a very, very introverted person. And I think like a lot of my friends know that, which is why I'm like blushing now. Okay, which is why like I try to refine my business process such that I guess I minimize the unnecessary interactions.
Okay.
Yeah, because it gets awkward for me, it gets awkward for other people. But what I do is that I do a lot of work behind the scenes. So by the time I get to an appointment, I would have gotten the financial analysis up. Yeah. So everything, we use Ghost Mapper, so it's the whole chart. I would have planned the scenarios in. I would already have summarized all the insurance in a summary, in a portfolio, in a file.
Okay.
Bring it to the client.
Yep.
And I would already have, because I have the information, right, I already have some sort of recommendations or solutions proposed.
Understand.
So most of the time, the first appointment is, I guess, already other people's like third or fourth appointment.
Understand.
Yeah. So that's how I get I guess the appointments down, but the appointments are very, very quality.
Yeah.
So my clients would sit with me for about 2 to 3 hours each appointment.
Okay.
And we would really deep dive into like the analysis, the summary, the business stuff. And that's how I guess like 1 or 2 appointments a week. Most of them are very, very quality appointments. Actually, it would enable me to hit MDRT. So the rest of the time, if I do, like drill my friends out or my clients out for meals and drinks, I make sure I don't talk business and I don't count those as appointments. Because it's zero business conversations. I really just want to meet them out for a meal and things like that. So those are, to me, not appointments because it's really just being a friend for another friend.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So that's how I guess like the entire business process is like up to today. Yeah.
What is the pre-appointment checklist that the clients ideally pass to you so that you can do your preparation?
Okay, so prior to the appointment, I'll ask my clients, if this is a new client, I'll tell my client that, okay, just dump all your policies into a bag, okay, and then I'll just pop by your house to collect it.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, so literally it's drop by house, I take the whole bag, it's already.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is one. Then the other thing is, using Ghost Mapper, we have this like fact find form.
Yep.
So I'll tell the client, hey, you do me a favor, okay, if you do this, we don't need me so many times, and you don't need to be bored by like all my financial talk, because what I actually need you to do is to fill in this form detailing your income, expenses, assets, liabilities, investments, and the software will do some analysis with that. So that's number 2.
Aren't you afraid to do this step because this person may be someone who's new to you, a referral, whom has no relationships with you before, and you are asking them for their amount of cash, CPF monies?
Actually, now that you say like that, right, it makes me feel like
you didn't even think about that, right?
I didn't even think about that.
See, guys, sometimes we overthink.
Right, because you see, if you guys go to a doctor, a new doctor, right, to say, check on your heart and things like that, the doctor will ask you everything and you will fill in or not.
Yeah, true.
Because it enables the professional to do his work well.
Exactly.
Yeah. So even if it's an embarrassing thing, like I social smoke when I'm overseas, kind of thing, you will write down, right? Because it's something that's important to enable the profession to enable the professional to advise you accordingly.
Yep.
So to me, it's just that lah.
Yeah.
It's a part of
your job.
It's a part of my job lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that answers me. I have no further questions. Okay.
Yeah.
So the number 1 it would be the insurances. Put in a bag. You come and collect it.
Yeah, can collect
Second one would be the fact find form from Ghost Mapper.
Yes.
Any third one?
No, that's about it. So these two, if they have a summary, then you just throw it together with the insurance bag.
Understand.
Yeah, and these two are good enough for me to, in fact, they are above and beyond what I guess what we normally get in our first appointment.
Yep.
Right? Because everything is already there.
Yes.
And then that enables me to really go into the software, do my analysis, see what's the shortfall.
Understand.
Yeah, sometimes I also do ask them about, is there anything that you're looking to plan for in the next couple of years?
Okay.
But other than that, that's kind of like everything. Pre-appointment, yeah.
Okay, understand. And using this pre-appointment, of course, there's some time needed to do the work to prepare for the actual appointment.
Yes.
And that is why behind the scenes, even though you have only 1 to 2 appointments a week, you were preparing for these 1 to 2 appointments.
And also like the research that goes behind. So like for example, if there are legacy products that they have that I'm not exactly 100% familiar with, then there's also like that time taken in to deep dive into that particular product and to see, what exactly is this person covered for. Yeah.
Okay. And do you fix the appointment with them already when you collected their insurances, or you wait until you finish your work before you fix the appointment?
I always fix first because that forces me to ensure that things are done by a certain time.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have a deadline to meet.
Yes.
Okay. Understand. And when you go in for the first appointment, of course, like what you say, you do the business. You analyze, you go through the analysis with them, and you already prepare a set of recommendations for them.
Yes.
And usually, can I say that the appointment that you go for is just to fine-tune the recommendations?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And then after the fine-tuning, the next appointment, which is your second appointment, is usually the application appointment, the taking of the... Okay.
Correct. Doing the paperwork. So sometimes, like in the first appointment, the client is very clear about what they want, then the closing can also happen there. Yeah, the application of the policies and everything can also happen there and then.
Understand.
Yeah. So it really depends. But of course, if my clients need time to go back and think about it, then go ahead, go back and think about it.
Understand.
Yeah. So it really depends on the client, but most of the time, it's either the first or the second appointment for the application.
Understand. And you because of the Ghost Mapper AI, you are able to analyze all the way from hospitalization to retirement.
Correct.
So you do the whole suite of planning for per client. Okay.
Yes, correct.
I understand. So it's no longer modular planning for you. It's comprehensive planning every single client.
It's comprehensive planning in the sense that I tell my clients that, okay, these are kind of like what you need your next steps. But I also recognize that I cannot, for some clients, they are unable to work on everything at once, right? Because I was there also, like when I first started my my insurance planning, I was unable to do everything at once. It was a life plan first, and then I started with a life plan, then a hospital plan. You shouldn't do it that way. Hospital plan first and life plan. Yeah, but anyway, So but that does not stop me from showing them like what they need in the entire portfolio lah.
I understand.
Yeah,
okay.
And I think it's important because then your clients remember, okay, actually this is my next step.
I understand. Okay.
If I take A and B, then the next one is C. right? And when you go back for the review appointments and things like that, they do remember those things, even probably not in details. None of my clients will remember in details, but it's our job to remind them of the details. But they'll remember that, hey, this is the next 2 things I need to do.
Understand. And am I right to say that when you go back to them for annual reviews, it's on their birthday months?
Birthday month? No, not really birthday month. I do wish them happy birthday, but the annual reviews, I actually go back to my clients every 2 years.
Okay.
So every 2 years, and unless there's like a huge like change in a life stage or a milestone, or the client initiates to meet me. But if not, then it's every 2 years, and I've told them that since day one, since 2018. So every 2 years, I use Trello. So like I'll just check hey, I haven't met this client for like 2 years, for 3 years. Okay, I need to meet the client this year, and I'll tell the client the same thing. Like, hey, Jiale, I haven't met you for a thorough financial review for the last 2 to 3 years, and I think and you know that I'm not the kind who will ask you for reviews every 6 months. So I think it is time that we go through a thorough one now.
Understand.
So would you be available?
Okay.
Unless previously the client has told me that let's review this next year, then I will set an appointment in my calendar already to remind the client next year.
Understand.
So but if not, then most of the time it's 2 years.
Okay. Can I know? Okay, is this the part that you say that you are very excited to share your productivity, or are there more to add?
So I want to share like
your
the
business
whole
practice, your financial planning practice.
Yes, I want to show share the whole client journey.
Right.
So I think like on the onset, the pre-appointment, which is what I shared with you guys. So that's that, and then on the appointment itself, I normally have the 4 items that I would present.
Okay.
So the first thing is definitely the insurance summary.
Okay.
So the insurance summary, run through with them, their short form, and I color code it.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And then second thing would be your, I guess like the regular financial planning presentation.
Okay.
To explain to them, what financial planning is about. And it doesn't stop at just insurance and investments. I tell them there's like a lot more. There's like your lasting power of attorney, your wills, and so on and so forth, right? So that's the second presentation. The third one would be the goals mapper analysis. Okay. And then the fourth one would be the recommendations, which could be a very, very long document, because I wouldn't have a good sense of what the client would want in the next step before I go for the first appointment. Okay. So I have everything prepared out. So term, life, savings, investments. If the hospitalization is not there, then hospitalization. So there will be 4 documents in my first appointment. Yeah.
And you go through this 4 religiously.
Yes. Okay. Yes, and I'll go through this 4. And then thereafter, after the close and things like that, normally we'll have a report sent to them. Okay, so whether or not they go through a report, to me, is not the priority. The priority is that, or what's important is that I prepare the report, and whenever they need to reference it, it's there, and it details the next step.
Understand.
And so normally I'll go back for a servicing, in the sense that I just run through with you your file, your entire file. These are your new policies. This is your updated summary. This is your financial report, and these are the next steps that you need to follow up with. Okay. And if you want, we can set a date now. If not, then I can check back in with you 1 year or 2 years from now. So that is that's the file which I. I also did a bit of like personal branding on it. Like there's like my embossment on that file. Okay. And then after, like in terms of like following up with clients, like building relationship and things like that, there are broad, narrow, and specific approaches. So the broad approaches is like what we do on social media, where if you feel up to it, you can read the post, you can watch the video, right? I don't force it down your throat. If you don't feel up to it, just swipe past, okay? So that's the broad approach. The narrow approach would be to curate several WhatsApp broadcast lists. So not just all clients in one list, but say parents who might find certain information more useful than other folks in another list. Right? So there are different tiers of like broadcast lists depending on which demographic you fall into. So if you are part of the LGBTQ community, and I feel like certain information that I have benefited from, I want to share with the LGBTQ community, then I would also broadcast the information in that specific group. Right? So that's the more narrow approach. And then of course you have the specific approach, where it's very specifically one-on-one. So if I think of you today, I will just text a person like, hey, I thought of you today.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's really just that. And those are the keeping in touch. What I do to keep in touch. But of course, I love receiving cards. I'm not a huge gift person. Yeah, but clients, if you guys are want to receive gifts, please let me know. But like Chilling and I are trying to do something that's we're trying to embark on this like minimalist movement. So we're trying to buy less, but I still love receiving cards. So I actually handwrite cards for my clients every year. And that's how I keep in touch. But more importantly, if you're a client and you're a friend that I really enjoy hanging out with, I would go on a hike with you. If your time is if you are available for a hike, or just do fun things that we both enjoy.
Understand. Okay, so that's a broad, narrow, specific way of servicing and keeping in touch with your clients. And for the WhatsApp broadcast, how often do you do it?
I don't do it that often, so it's probably at most like once a month.
Okay.
Yeah, at most. Yeah.
Understand. Okay, but of course you have your, more narrow and specific way of engaging them.
Correct.
Okay, understand. And we are a bit running out of time, but I
sure.
really want to touch on social media. What's your take on social media?
Okay, so what's my take on social media is that it's just an amplification strategy. Yeah, it really is. So you can market yourself to have done certain things or to be doing certain things for all you want. But if the client actually sits down with you and realize that was just marketing, then you probably not get a business. You probably not even get a first business. But if you do get a first business and realize that the quality of service and follow-ups isn't as promised, then you probably won't get that repeated business, right? So I think like social media is a great tool for just staying top of mind. But whatever that you put out on social media, you need to be able to fulfill it. Whatever persona that you show out on social media, you need to be consistent in real life, right? Like, for example, if on social media, you are this like very, I guess like Angmo speaking dude, and but then in real life, probably it's a completely different like persona. I think like then people will feel like, 为什么这样的? Yeah, why is it this way, right? So that's my take on social media. Does it help with business? Yes, it does. But if you do social media only for business, then people can sense it. Yeah, and people can feel it. Like humans, we have this like gut instinct thing. Yeah, so if you're just doing it, to get sales and whatnots, then people can definitely feel it. Yeah. But if you're really doing it because you enjoy doing it, and because you just want to like share like life with my dogs, life with my wife, with my children on it, people can sense that too. Yeah. And I think the important thing about social media is not showing how great you are as a financial consultant. It's showing your values as a person. And if somebody resonates with your value, they will want to work with you.
Understand.
Yeah. It's not about pushing products or like sharing rate of investments, returns on investments. To me, that's like a no-no, because a lot of these things you're not supposed to, and it's also, I guess, just as a consumer, when I see these, it's sometimes like wow, overwhelming. Like don't do that. Yeah. So normally, like what I would do is to just share my everyday life. Like if I feel that a certain work accolade means a lot to me, then I'll just share it. Yeah. If I feel like a certain moment hanging out with my grandparents means a lot to me, I'll just share it. Yeah. So that's, I guess, like where social media, or where my thoughts on social media come into play. Yeah.
So you're more communicating your values and your value system.
Yes.
More than your accolades or achievements. Of course, those will be those will come in every now and then.
Yeah.
But majority of which will be your value system, your philosophy.
Yes.
Your family, etc. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, like to say it as like value systems and philosophy seems like wow, I think a lot, but like it's more of just everyday life lah. Like
you see, you didn't even think, right? Like it's just
like how I view,
just comes very naturally to you.
Yeah, how I view things, how I want to be seen as, I guess, like how I want to be as a daughter, as a granddaughter, as an FC. And FC is also a role in life that I play. And all these things come together to form me as a person. Yeah. So
you are showcasing the different roles that you play in life.
Yes.
And one of which is financial advisory.
Correct. And
It's just one role.
And I don't even feel like, I'm like showing anything. It's just documenting.
Understand.
Yeah, that today I'm playing a role of a friend with Jiale.
Yep.
Right? Tomorrow tomorrow I'll be playing the role of daughter with my dad at
Yep.
his birthday. Yeah, and these are just documentation
Yep,
of
yeah,
life.
yeah.
Yeah, and if people feel that I really resonate with how
Yeah.
you're spending your time.
Yeah.
Like with how you are treating your parents, your grandparents, how you are running your business, and they're attracted to you.
Yep.
Yeah, then they'll come to you and ask, whether we can work together.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if they're not, then they can scroll past. It's like a non-intrusive way of, I guess, getting people to know you better. Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. And I feel like I know so much about yourself and Joanne. Like even though this is like the first time that I've met Joanne. Yes.
Yeah. It's social media is really amazing. Yeah. So I'm really glad you're really like part of this social media movement, and it's I wouldn't really call it movement anyways.
Yeah.
You're just on social media and just showcasing your life and documenting about yourself. And the previous time I asked you, you are already 100% attracting, right?
Yes.
Yeah, your business model has already moved from a hunting model to an attracting model.
Yes.
And would you say that it is social media has a role to play as well?
Yes, I would definitely say that social media has a role to play, because.
But what other factors also play to help you to get to the 100% attraction?
I think consistency in work is the other factor.
Okay.
Yeah. So, so a lot of times, last year in 2021, I was really like struggling with how I should manage my time, right? And so I was very grateful that like 100% business was passively came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that really helped me in, I guess, managing my time better as a new agency leader.
Yep.
Yeah. So I realized that a common factor with all these clients that eventually came to us, hey, can we do this year? Is that in a sense, the planning was already done in the years before, and then they realized that, hey, last year I'm good enough to proceed with step C of the entire plan. Yeah, so it's really the consistency of work as well. So perhaps I'm not very sure exactly what the entire process is, but perhaps they did see me on social media and then they're like, hey, Joyce did tell me that we need a plan, right?
Okay.
But it's also the consistency of the work that comes before that. And then, all these like come together. Your online and your offline branding to ensure that consistency in the quality of the work that you do and in your business longevity. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time, Joyce. Unfortunately, we ran out of time.
Yes, we did.
We
I
still
didn't
have so
realize.
much that we want to ask you, but we try to keep the show within an hour or so.
Yeah.
But it's really been a pleasure. Can you tell the audience like how to what's your Instagram handle? How to reach out to you?
Okay, so
If they have more questions.
yeah, if you have any more questions, my IG handle is Joyce Chan SG. Yeah, it's not very amazing, but Joyce Chan SG. So yeah, you can just drop me a message or DM if you have any questions for me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time again, Joyce.
And thanks for having me in your house.
Yeah, man, more than welcome, more than happy. So everyone, Joyce Chan, the advisor of advisors. See you next time.